I mean, it's why we become DMs, really, to kind of sort of mentally torture people into doing what we want.
This interview is sponsored by the Endless Bag of Dice. Get a new set of dice at your door every month. Use the code SAVE15 to get 15% off your first month. Hey, Jason from Critical Dice, and today I'm doing an interview with one of my favorite artists on Instagram in the D&D space, Mr. James Gifford. Sir, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I've been digging on your art and the stuff that you draw and the comics and all the stuff you do and you publish on Instagram for a while now. And I'm not an artistic person myself at all. And so I have to just rely on my words. But so how long have you been drawing? Like, how did you get into art in the first place?
Well, I mean, I've been drawing ever since I was a kid. I was definitely kind of one of those kids who was always like drawing on his exam papers and doodling on the back of his books. So, like, for everyone out there who's at that stage, like, believe me, like, you can make it. Don't give up on your hobbies. But it's definitely something that I kind of, after school, I went into art college just to kind of see where I could go from there. I studied illustration in a little place called Falmouth, which is kind of by the coast of south of England. And just kind of from there, I'd always kind of been playing sort of board games and D&D, but it was really kind of at university where I kind of met other artistic people that I really kind of started to get into it and started to meet like-minded kind of storytellers in a way. So yeah, I guess, since then.
Yeah, well, it really works for you because I think the first way I became aware of your art was a comic book, and I would see like individual pages on like someone's Pinterest board or something, and I was like, wait, what is this? And it's called Dungeon Diaries, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell me about Dungeon Diaries because I think it's just is brilliantly done, and it's so just step by step kind of teaches people how to play D&D in a way that's very narrative driven, not so rules driven.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dungeon Diaries initially, that was kind of one of the first sort of D&D groups I played when I was at university. Like, everyone in the comic are all friends of mine. They're all existing.
Oh, really?
People. Yeah. And they're all illustrators. So they've actually, a few of them, I think Jay and Stina, the two characters in there, they've actually done comics of our campaigns and like little kind of stories from our campaigns. And they're based in Norway, so they kind of made these sort of one-page Norwegian comics with the same characters. And we kind of joke a little bit about it because I actually saw their initial like drawings for their comic they did, and I thought, I'll make a longer one and I'll sell it myself. And then there's this whole thing of like, how are we going to sort out like plagiarism and stuff? But I think one of the plans I would love to do when I get back to doing that is to have like an anthology with kind of chronologically telling all the stories and all the different comics with all the different artists in it. But yeah, it was really just a kind of I think it was one of those things that as a DM you often meet a lot of people who they want to know more about D&D and they want to know kind of how to play and what it's like, but they often don't have the opportunity to do so. So the comic was really kind of to demystify it a little bit and kind of go through it as if you were a total newbie and show that it's not all just numbers and maths and speaking Elvish. There's actually a lot of kind of storytelling, really. And I think that's something a lot of people can do.
Yeah, absolutely. When I read it, I realized this is very indicative of every conversation I've ever had with a group of new players. And they ask all the same questions. And so for you to take that and kind of quantify it and make a, FAQ almost of like how to teach your friends to play D&D and to do it such in a wonderful, like kind of comic book way, I think it's just really, really great. So that's how I kind of came being aware of your work in the first place.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And so I started following you on Instagram, and then you started doing these kind of like weird but new and like useful magic items. So how would you describe those magic items that you made? I guess last year now, right?
Yeah, it was sort of November 2018, sort of towards the end. Uh, I'd just come back from a Comic Con in sort of north of England called Thought Bubble, and there's a great Comic Con. You meet lots of sort of geeky people, a lot of sort of D&D themed comics there at the moment. I just kind of came back and I thought, actually, I've been working on my sort of homebrewed notes for a good few years now, and I just really wanted to kind of illustrate some of the ideas I had, and it just kind of started from there, really. Like I thought I'd share some, get people's opinions, and I think I was just blown away by how they were received. Yeah, totally. Um,
Yeah. And so, what was your like guiding force, and like what did and didn't make it into those magic items? Because some of them are like almost like they're like jokes, and some of them you're like,
yeah.
oh, I know how I would use this for sure, you know. So there seems to be this kind of fine line that you're trying to go on.
Uh, I think it's important. I mean, certainly in my games, I find when you're telling a story, it's not always like crazy powerful items all the time. There's like low down moments where you find maybe a trinket at a shrine or something that does a very simple kind of effect, all the way to a crazy malfunctioning cursed item that, I don't know, turns your skin purple or something. So there's always like a variation of different kind of things and where they come from. I mean, you have to remember kind of who's making these items. It's not always one person.
Yeah.
It's everything from the maniacal evil necromancer to the crazy gnome wizard who just, I don't know, has been eating too many mushrooms and has thought, hey, I'll make a spoon that eats people or something. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. In
it's
gnomish
kind of
culture, the
finding,
spoon eats you. Yeah.
yeah. The spoon eats you. That's the only curse it has. No benefits. But um, I think it's really thinking about the moment in which you want the players to use this or use this item, and I think obviously it's the most popular ones are the ones where it's very random and it's very kind of I think the Book of Misspells, one of the ones I did, is one of the most popular ones.
Yeah.
Where the spell Speak with Dad, or Speak with Dead turns to Speak with Dad, which is a great one. But yeah, I think just kind of thinking about different moments in which these items can be used and thematically where it can fit in the game. If it's like a dark moment or like relief sort of scene in the game, I guess.
Yeah, and I like that perspective that not only do these items come from a wide variety of people's times and personalities, which makes a lot of sense now that you say that,
Yeah.
but also that these items can be used in just as a wide and diverse possible situations and needs. And so, yeah, you can't just always have, you know, the uber powerful swords or the thing that makes really obvious sense of how you would use this in battle, but rather there's, you know, I think Xanathar's Guide to Everything did a good job with this, where there's some magic items in there. Most of the magic items in there are pretty chill. Like, you know, there's the Cloak of Billowing, everyone's favorite, so you can like make it like flutter in the wind that doesn't exist, so you look epic, and that's all it does, you know. But sometimes you want to feel epic, you know, and so you have to, yeah, that's the right thing for you. So I like that you kind of made them so diverse and not just this one kind of path about battle or all this other stuff. So I think it really, really works because you never know what to expect as you're going through and looking at those. So I think I remember maybe it was a year ago. I think I sent you a message on Instagram. I was like, dude, you need to turn these into cards. And now, lo and behold, a year ago and a year later, you're making these into cards. So tell me about that process.
Well, I think I was thinking about it, like whether it should be a book or some cards. And I think your kind of suggestion did kind of push me over the edge. I thought, okay, I'll do cards.
Oh, good.
largely just because I mean, as a DM, it's great to kind of hand things out to players and say, this is what you find, and then give it to them. And there's something about having kind of tangible props that just makes it kind of come alive. And also having an illustration, having the rules all kind of written there as like a reference is just a great way to save me time, kind of writing notes and preparing notes beforehand, and saves the player time having to find space on their already busy character sheet to kind of just have the thing. So I felt cards was kind of just the natural progression from the images I put on Instagram. And plus it would give me a chance to kind of correct any spelling mistakes, because there are a lot of spelling mistakes in the Instagram ones.
I have that issue too. Yeah.
I actually have them here.
Oh, really?
So these are all kind of the prototype. Whoops. Or kind of, that's like the Vase of Youth. This is a new one. This is the Lyre of Building, which I actually had another friend of mine, when he ran a game for me, I kind of stole that idea from him with his permission. Of course. But yeah, it's all here, the assorted deck of magical items.
Oh wow, that's amazing! And so you put it on Kickstarter last week sometime, I guess.
It went up on the 14th, last Friday. Yeah.
Last Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at it this morning, and you're fully funded as of the Monday after the next Friday. So that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Totally, like, I wasn't expecting it to go this way at all. I thought, okay, maybe I would just reach the end towards the sort of 30th day, but it's been just fantastic, like, seeing the support people have given, and I'm just really grateful for that, for sure.
Absolutely. Do you have a sense of like pride and accomplishment, or is it tempered with this fear of, oh no, now I have to actually go and make these?
Well, I think I'm definitely pride and accomplishment, but then I think I kind of phased into, I have to make sure the more items, because I would love to do like another deck, and once this is kind of all sorted, I'm definitely going to go back and create some more, because I have tons more ideas. But there's this kind of sense of, gosh, I've got to make sure that they're just as good as the previous ones, and I mean, every DM has this when they set out like items, and then they're like, oh, I hope this idea is like just as good as the last sort of whole bunch of loot that they found. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, dude, congratulations on all your success. And if people are watching this video soon enough, they can still go to your Kickstarter. And so what's the name of the Kickstarter that they could search if they go into the search box to find this Kickstarter?
So if you search up the assorted magical items cards, or just assorted magical items, that will come straight up. There aren't many Kickstarters with assorted in the title. I think that's the one good thing about having a product with a very long sort of title, is that no other products can be mistaken for it. So
you got that long tail search term. Yeah. And then if people go to your Instagram, which is at Mr. James Gifford, right?
That's right. Yes.
The link is right there at the top, and people can be a part of that, and they can get those cards. Yeah, I know. I'm going to get one for sure. So because I obviously love cards. I have the deck of stories as well, and I'll be doing more of that stuff later as well. So I love having those things that are tangible and tactile that you can use, especially like you said, to hand it out to your player. Here, you have this stinking cracked orb. Enjoy that. So. Well, right on, man. Well, are there any other projects or places you want to direct people so they can see more of your work either now or in the future?
I think the main places where I'll be posting kind of current things I'm working on will be Instagram. Twitter I'm doing a little bit more of. I think since this kind of whole thing began, I've been trying to sort of get more into social media. I'm more inclined to kind of pick up a pencil and draw than go on the internet, really. But definitely I'll be posting more projects on Instagram. I haven't forgotten about Dungeon Diaries. I keep remembering I have sort of files on my computer where I've started working on the next sort of second edition. But I think at the moment, the main thing I'm thinking about is what kind of questions and what kind of things would help people reading it, whether I should put in more sort of DM like tips on how to run your games, or whether there's like extra rules I don't know about. So that's definitely something I'll be looking to once the deck of assorted items is all done and dusted.
Yeah, because I think Dungeon Diaries is really a project that can help a whole lot of people because, you know, you see the success of like Dungeons and Dragons versus Rick and Morty and that kind of stuff where there's certainly an audience for the comic book form factor and Dungeons and Dragons, and both are just
Yeah,
swelling
totally.
in popularity right now. I think that getting that out to more people would really work. And, you know, maybe just asking other DMs like, hey, what are the most common questions newbies will give you as a way of kind of adding more of that content? Or as a really interesting experiment, you could give a table of 4 brand new players your comic, give them half an
Yeah.
hour or so to read them, and then play and see how well they do with no further instruction or so as
Yeah.
an ultimate test. That might be nerve-wracking, but, you know, you could always try it.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think like putting kind of guinea pigs under pressure is always a
Yeah.
good sort of DM experience. I mean, it's why we become DMs really, to kind of sort of mentally torture people into doing what we want. Uh, yeah, and
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, mentally torturing people since 1974. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Okay.
Yeah,
Right
totally,
on.
absolutely.
Well, hey, man, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me. I think our connection was good throughout most of the stuff. And you guys, I'll put down in the description here on this YouTube video all the places where you can find James and all his stuff and that Kickstarter. And then after the Kickstarter is over, I'll change that link to where you can buy them after the Kickstarter is over. But thanks so much, man. And thanks for doing everything that you do.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. See you guys.